half of your day is working out and then the other half is playing basketball?
No, well, working out on basketball, we're under the same PT part of the day, and then the other half would be drilling, working on your qualifications.
Got it. So for what, 4 hours you're doing like on your drilling and on your quals, and then the other four
For the other
hours
half, it was
is
like working out. Yeah, it was definitely a good schedule.
that's crazy. Hey, welcome back, Military Journeyman, to another episode. Today, I have the special honor of speaking with my friend Ralph. He is in ITA school right now, and he recently came from the Honor Guard. So, really exciting video because there's not a whole lot of information about the Honor Guard. It's a big decision because when you're in boot camp, you might have the option to join the Honor Guard if you meet specific requirements. So Ralph decided to, raise his hand during boot camp and say that he'd like to go. And then, from that, he learned, what exactly is involved with the Honor Guard. We're going to be talking about the pros, cons of that, the experience, requirements, all that stuff. So you can know when you get to boot camp if the Honor Guard is something that you want to pursue, or pursuing a different option for, the beginning of your career, or just maybe a 4-year contract. So, Ralph, if you please wouldn't mind just introducing yourself, letting everybody kind of know who you are, and how'd you end up in the Honor Guard?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for tuning in. My name is Ralph Faraz. I was in the Honor Guard for about 2 years, which is a 2-year commitment. I joined because when I was in boot camp, I definitely don't want to go on a boat. So, and then we met up with there's like these 3 guys dressed up in ceremonials, which are bravos with a rope, and you'll see a white rope and like some nice brass on them. So they definitely looked very appealing, and I was like, who are these people? And when they came to talk to us about the Honor Guard, I was like, okay, I'm kind of interested because I know I'm going to go. They let us know where's the location, what the BAH was going to be. It was definitely a lot more less stressful knowing where I was going to go at like week 3 if I were to be accepted, than waiting for our picks and be like, hey, you're going to a cutter in this one place that you don't know anything about. So it was definitely a great decision, very rewarding. But yeah, that's how I got into the Honor Guard. Now, after my 2 years, I'm now in A school.
Nice. Now, maybe just kind of take us, give a little bit of education. Like, what exactly is the Honor Guard? You said you were in boot camp. There's some strapping petty officers that came and, solicited and said like all the benefits of joining. But what exactly was the Honor Guard, and did you really know much about it before, deciding to join?
No, no, man. I had no idea what the Honor Guard was going to be. I didn't even know it existed, to be honest, while I was in boot camp. I remember when I was in boot camp that I really wanted to be in like drill team when they had that thing. So, and then I missed the cut because like they said like, oh, our CCs were saying like, hey, who did this many push-ups? And I was like, I did it, but like I didn't really raise my hand because I didn't know what they were asking for. And it turns out they were asking for people to go on drill team for the boot camp. And I was like, oh, I wish I did that. And so I kind of missed that opportunity. And then the Honor Guard came, and I was like, these guys look kind of cool. They showed us the videos and they did drill team and stuff. So that's where it pretty much sold me, because like the events that they do, the people that they meet, it's definitely a rewarding experience once you pretty much are in that. But anyways, like while I was in boot camp, I think they came in the 3rd week, and there were these 3 guys all dressed up in ceremonials, which is again bravos with some brass on them and a rope. A couple of them also had their badges on, so the Honor Guard badge. They looked very appealing. And once we all went to a classroom, and once our CCs left, these guys told us that we can relax and just watch this video. It was a video of the Honor Guard. Thought it was going to be a cool gig because, again, we were going to meet high officials like the president, the commandant, vice commandant, McPog, and other countries' higher officials. They also travel and perform in events. The most important thing that I thought was like the most rewarding part was like rendering honors for fallen shipmates. Overall, I believe like it was going to be a fun and rewarding job. So Yeah, and that's pretty much how I joined. Once I got out of boot camp, I searched it up where what the honor guard did, and on YouTube, there's really no videos about it other than maybe like this 3-part video that's 2005 ish, I believe, and it definitely needs to be updated. So kudos to you for bringing this information and letting people know what the honor guard is about and what to expect once you get in.
Got it. So week 3 of boot camp. So honor guard, and just to kind of recap, honor guard, it's if you wouldn't mind just explaining a little bit more. So you do like it's like drill team, but for the Coast Guard, and you do like memorial services and different ceremonies. Like I've seen you guys at like the Coast Guard ball, where you did a performance, and you guys did an awesome job. But is there anything else that the drill team specifically does as part of like their responsibilities?
Yeah, so there's once you get in the honor guard, there's four qualifications. There's firing party, which is like for funerals, which is going to be the 21 gun salute, and then you also have the casket team, which will be carrying the casket when rendering the honors, and you also have colors team, which is you typically a 4-man team where you'll be presenting the colors in front of everyone in certain events. And then you'll also have the drill team, which is usually a special request. It's definitely the most flashy out of all of them. But yeah, those are the 4 main qualifications that we'll be doing. And typically, when you're going to be doing the honor guard, you'll be the face of the Coast Guard, and basically you'll be in front of you'll be in a camera. You'll be the pretty much the background of whatever high official or high event is going to be taking place. And typically, this includes like a president's speech, like the inauguration. We were definitely heavily a part of that. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Got it. So there's actually 4 different jobs that the honor guard does, and it's not all just a drill team with
No,
flipping
not at
the
all.
the
Yeah, that's just a
guns
small
and
part of it.
wow. Okay, so what I thought what I thought honor guard is like that's kind of what they do. They do some other stuff, but that's a small part of what the honor guard actually does. And he said not everybody can do that. That's like a specialty thing.
Yeah. Well, anyone is capable of getting any of these quals, but typically the 2 most common qualifications are firing party and colors. So those are the main quals that people typically do. And then once they are proficient in those quals, sometimes they get invited to drill team, or they can just ask to join and then start working on the sequences. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But there's multiple people who can do different things.
Got it. Yeah, really really curious, and we'll find out some more about how that all works and stuff like that. Maybe you just talk about if you can kind of talk about some of the benefits. So, what are some of the benefits that you can expect from joining the honor guard? I know that you said that you weren't necessarily looking to get stationed on a cutter initially, so you're going to be land based. Where you're going to be ending up, which was Alexandria, Virginia, in the DC area. What are some other benefits about joining the drill team?
So it's not just being a part of the drill team, because I actually never got qualified. I never got qualified in doing drill team. However, I did participate in some of the sequence, or I did practice the sequences, and overall, it was a fun opportunity.
Right. Yeah, I misspoke. I was saying drill team, but I meant honor guard. Honor guard.
But yeah, again, a lot of the things that you'll be able to do is like, again, meeting these high officials. That it was pretty common for you to meet the commandant, McPog, vice commandant. Definitely saw them at least 5 times, I believe, and they're all great people. So like whenever we got to see them, they would always come up to us. There was also this one time where we had a Christmas party, and all the admirals from different bases were all there. Commandant, Vice Commandant, and McPog were also there. And the honor guard was there to usher and do some coat checks and stuff. So once everyone was settled and eating, everyone came up to us and just had a conversation about our careers and stuff. So it's definitely a high
Like high profile.
high profile job. You do get to work with other military branches, with like the Army, the Navy, Marines, Air Force, and also Space Force because now they have their own flag. We typically on what the honor guard does, will be doing the military district of Washington's like events. So if let's say the president has a speech or a high official from a different country come visit, we will typically be there and be human backdrops where we stand for long periods of times. So we'll be listening to speech and stuff. So it's definitely an experience and also very tough because you're also working in high or extreme weather conditions sometimes. So like most of our missions are done in the summer, and typically in DC area it's humid, and we're always going to be wearing our ceremonials or bravos. So once you're sweating, it's hard to, you're pretty much, it's a mental game at that point. So yeah, once you stand for more than an hour, it's tough. So it's definitely not for everybody but during the training process, they train you for these things.
And you said it's a 2 year a 2 year contract. Do you get like a higher priority, or do you get like first pick for your A school? Like, how does that work?
So once you finish your 2 years, you are able to jump the A school list, but I think it's only worth it for anyone who is interested in going to an A school that is longer than 2 years. So I went to IT. So if I went to any other base, I would probably have gone to IT or IT A schools way before completing my 2 years here. So it's definitely worth it if you're going to aviation, ME, or HS, or whichever A school list that is longer than 2 years. So yeah, you are a priority too. So if you do come in as a NCO, you or officer, you'll have a priority to going out.
Oh wow! So even petty officers get a higher priority.
NCOs will. I think their billets are 4 years long, 3 to 4 years long, and officers are 2 years, and the non-rates are 2 years as well. So
oh wow.
Yeah,
and they get a priority too as well. Wow. Yeah, that's equivalent to being on a cutter, Oconus. So Oconus cutter, or doing the. Why is it just like is it like a super difficult job or very demanding? Because there's not that many jobs in the Coast Guard that give you such a high priority. Why is it so high up there?
I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's because it's a high-profile job. You do work around these high officials and stuff. I also think that it also is a very tough job because, like, at times when you're doing these missions, you're standing for long periods of time, not being able to move. Yeah, I've seen people falling and hit their heads on the floor pretty hard.
Wow.
It's definitely a tough job, but I'm not entirely sure why exactly it's a priority to billet.
Okay. And so going back, when you're in week 3 or so of boot camp, and they come and they ask, is this your only one opportunity to be able to join the honor guard?
Yes, I believe so, but nowadays I don't know if they still recruit because this is before COVID. During when COVID was hit, when we were hit with COVID pretty hard, we could not go to A school. I'm sorry, to boot camp to recruit people anymore. So it was people. I think the CCs now briefly mention it, and I think that's their opportunity to jump in. But yeah, I don't know how it is done now, but before, when I was in boot camp, we would have recruiters come in and talk about the honor guard, pull us aside, whoever is 6 feet for men and 5'8" for women, and yeah, we'll just talk about it for a little bit, and then they give us an application, and we just write whatever we can fill out, and then after submitting that, we hear about our picks once our CCs pretty much reveal where we're going to be going. At the time, I wasn't even in it was a shock to me that I got into the honor guard because once our CCs gave us our locations, I was in medical, so I didn't know anything about it until like my shipmates like, hey, you're gonna go to the honor guard. So yeah, it was a trip.
So you have to be 6 foot tall for men, or five. You said 5'5" for female.
5'8" for females. Yes, that's the minimum.
That's the minimum. Do they
Yeah, so
want
I barely
people
made
that
the
are?
cut.
Oh wow. Do they want people that are even taller, or does everybody kind of have to be the same height?
No, no, no. It's 6 feet, and then anything above that. So it's definitely a trip if you're 6 foot tall, like me, and then once you go there, and then you see everyone just taller than you, and you realize how short you are.
Like, why is height the requirement for this?
I'm not exactly too sure, but I think it's just because it's also the requirement for all of the for the I believe for all the other branches as well. So if you see like a bunch of people who are like five, if you see a guy who's like 5'5" compared to 6 foot, there's a pretty big gap. And if you see that in a platoon, because it looks kind of odd. So I think 6 foot is the minimum just to look presentable and just the standard for it. So yeah.
Mhm. But for women, they can be shorter. So is there not that same kind of height difference looking at the females and the male? Because they do everything together, or is it like segregated on on gender?
They do everything together, yeah.
Everything
So
together.
how it works is that when we're on like a platoon mission, like something you'll see in a national mall, you'll see that these people will be standing. You'll see the tallest person at the very front, and then it goes down to the shortest. So yeah, you don't really get to see I guess, the shorter people. So I was definitely typically at the back of the platoon. Yeah.
Being 6 foot, you're at the back of the platoon. That's pretty wild.
All my buddies there are like 6'5", 6'3", and or 6'7" or whatnot. I don't know how tall they are now, but if you're going to the honor guard, just be ready that you're probably going to be the shortest one if you're 6 foot.
Okay. And you got picked up for the honor guard, so you fill out this application, or the recruiters come, they talk to you, they show you if they say like if you're 6 foot or 5'8" for females, raise your hand. This can only apply to you, and then they give you an application, and then you're like putting what's on the application? Are you trying to pitch to join, or are they selective? Like, are they able to recruit every single boot camp class, or like how does that work?
Before it was like that, where they are pretty selective in who they pick. I don't remember what exactly are the quals because like there was at least 7 of us who were interested who raised our hands while I was in boot camp, and then they only selected 2. Actually, no, there were 7 of us who raised our hand, but then they actually didn't commit to doing the honor guard, so they ended up going to different units, and then me and this other guy. No, there was 3 of us who were super committed in doing the honor guard, and then only 2 of us were selected. And I'm not exactly too sure. Maybe it could be random or anything, but they also during the meeting with the 3 recruiters, I guess they also have a conversation to see how you are and stuff. And if you're squared away in boot camp and stuff, and they see that just based on talking to you, they're most likely going to select you as well. So yeah, because again, when you're in the honor guard, you also have to be squared away. Uniform maintenance is like top top notch. Yeah, and then you're also going to be doing manual of arms, marching, and if you're not proficient in that while in boot camp, yeah, it's going to be a challenge in the honor guard because everything you learn in boot camp is also very different. Basically, just erase everything you learn in boot camp in terms of manual of arms and marching. When you get into the honor guard, everything is different.
Got it. So you'd think that people that are typically, is it better to be on the drill team in boot camp to get picked up for the honor guard, or like in your case, you said that it didn't really even matter. So are they just evaluating you? Your CCs are evaluating you during that whole time until they say like, hey, we need to know, you know, who's the most squared away person, and then and that's when you get your orders.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever. I think they do have a conversation with the CCs. I actually don't. I've never actually like thought about asking this to any of the recruiters who went once I was in the honor guard. But yeah, I do believe they do talk to the CCs about specific people who are interested. If you are in the drill team for boot camp, I think that's a plus as well. But if you don't make the height requirement, then it's not. It probably won't even happen. But yeah, if you are squared away and if you have some prior experience with drilling, then it's definitely a plus because that will definitely help the honor guard.
So like if you have like on your application that, during high school or something, you were part of, your high school's drill team or something like that, those are all things that they're also looking at as well.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that's also written in the application if you had any of those prior experiences. But yeah, pretty much the prior on the application, they'll just be asking your name, height, weight, and stuff like that. They also, if you are a big buff dude, you're most likely, and you are really interested, you're most likely going to get picked up because like you can work yourself up to working in the casket team, which is definitely the most difficult qualification to get because you do have to pass a casket test just to get into the team, which is all these weightlifting exercises and to see if you can to see if you have the strength for it. So, and that's just to get into the team, and then you can work on your quals. But yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some really huge dudes. They're like above 6 foot and just like massive. They look like linebackers almost, walking around the base.
Yeah, so
And
that will definitely be a plus if you wanted to go to honor guard with that mass and strength and the height. So
is there five jobs then? Is there's like 4 standard jobs and then there's the casket team, or is the casket team one of the 4 jobs?
yeah, that's one of the 4 qualifications to get. Yeah.
Okay. Week 3, you put in the application. You can put all the stuff, if you meet those qualifications, and then all right. So then you got your orders. What was it like when you first showed up to the honor guard? Was it like boot camp all over again, or kind of talk about that experience, what it's like actually reporting and starting to work?
Yeah, when reporting was definitely a trip. It feels like once you arrive, it feels like boot camp all over again, but you'll be introduced to all the trainers, and the trainers will tell you like as soon as you report, they'll tell you the new facing movements that you have to learn, right face, left face, about face, and everything. It's like I said, it's completely different, and everything you learn in boot camp, just forget it if you're going to the honor guard. And then it honestly feels like boot camp all over again because like everything happens so quick, and you learn so much again. And as soon as you get settled into your barracks, you'll start all the other people who are in training as well will have to help you out and get everything settled in terms of your uniform maintenance and what's expected of you. And then you start training. The training process is about, well, when I went through, it was a 8 to 12 week self-paced program. Now it's different. I don't remember exactly how it is. I know you have to complete it within 8 to 10 weeks, and it is still a self-paced program, but I think they just shortened the amount of time. But yeah, once you get in training, you'll learn how to iron and put military creasings on your uniform. And when ironing and uniform, when you do your uniform maintenance, it's very particular with how you have to do things. Like we have military creasings on our trops, and you have to do that done by hand. The edges of your trops have to be super sharp. You don't even get to wear these uniforms while in training because like it's a part of your locker inspections. You also, once you get certain sign-offs, you'll also get your brass. Now we don't use brass actually because I think certain health problems that came with it. But now we'll be getting these black clickers, so they would be attached to. Here, I have an example. Give me a second. So we would have our core frames right here, and then if you see, I have like 2 holes right here. We used to put a brass right here, and we would have them like pretty much shiny and stuff. But nowadays we have a silver or a metal clicker. So whenever we put our feet together, it makes a click. That's why they're called clickers. And then we would have to put, I forgot this material, what this material is called, but we'd have to put it over that. So everything just looks in one color. So it'd be just black everywhere. But this used to be gold, or because of the brass. Other than that, we also had a breastplate that came across our stomach. This one was going to be, we had to sand all our brass while I was in training and have them shine and prep for uniform inspections. And yeah, our trainers were very particular. Like if you had like a small dink, you had to like, it was no go. If you had any like soft lines, which basically means like when you're rubbing them on when you're buffing them out, like if you see any streaks of white lines or whatever, is not good to go. Yeah, the honor guard basically teaches you patience and like and be prideful within what you work in, but it's definitely tough when it comes to uniform maintenance. Once you're in the honor guard and starting learning the sequences and marching and weapons manuals, again, it's going to be all different. You need to basically it's all going to be different, and yeah, everything in boot camp is just pretty much forget it.
One thing that I forgot to ask: can you join the honor guard if you are married or have kids, or do you have to be single without dependents?
No, you can. We had members who were married prior to going to the honor guard, so yeah.
And so they'll relocate your whole family with you to Alexandria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what I also forgot to mention is that when you get to the honor guard and you don't have any dependents or you're not married, you'll be living in the barracks for a little bit, and to get out of the barracks, you have to wait until new honor guard members comes in. So I was there for about 3 months, I believe. I don't no, actually no. I was there for about a month and a half, and then once we got new trainees, they're the ones who are going to be replacing you. And once you get out, that's when you can go house hunting for a place to stay for a little bit, or actually pretty much for your whole time. And that's when you earn BAH. So you won't be getting BAH for like the first few months, but yeah.
And how many people are in the honor guard?
Currently, there's I believe 65. Yeah, we have the most non-rates in the Coast Guard.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
yeah.
But it sounds like it's a pretty high rotation. Like there's a lot of people that are always kind of coming in and getting out of the honor guard.
Actually, yeah, there's a lot of people who are stepping out now because our numbers have to be a lot smaller, because a lot of the other units are in need of non-rates. So we can't be taking in a lot of E3s anymore. Because when I came in, our roster was up to like 80 to 100. So now we have to shorten them down. The Coast Guard needs more non-rates. So yeah.
Got it. So before there'd just be like a lot of extra people just kind of waiting around for specific jobs when they become available, or
So what I forgot to mention too is that there's a 8 to 12 week program. So you're not an honor guardsman yet. So there's an 8 to 12 week program learning everything about the honor guard. And then once you finish, there's this thing called the going up ceremony, where you will have to perform all the sequences and manual of arms in front of the honor guard and show that you're proficient in this. And then you'll be performing this in front of like the CO, the XO, training officers, and all the NCOs. And based on your performance, they will decide if you pass or fail. If you pass, you earn your white rope. And if you fail, depending on how much, depending on your time frame, you can retake it. But if you exceeded the 12 weeks while I was there, you were going to be relocated to a new unit.
oh, so if you don't pass that training period in time, then they say like you pick, they send you to like just a different unit somewhere else. Wow. I mean, were there a lot of people that weren't able to pass it? Was it like, is it extremely difficult?
There was definitely a few people. I don't believe the honor guard's training program was that difficult. It's just that some people may have like procrastinated during the time they settled. They weren't taking the program seriously. Like they weren't doing well in uniform inspections or room inspections, and slowly that built up to like not being able to finish within 12 weeks. So like if you procrastinate that much and then you hit your 10th or 11th week and you're like, oh snap, I gotta do everything within 2 weeks, and you're still far behind in the sequences because your sign-offs are not completed, then if you try to rush it all down and then you do your going up ceremony and it's going to be subpar, you gave yourself no room for error. to retake the going up ceremony. So it's happened a few times, but overall, I finished the program in 10 weeks, so I know people who got out in 4, 5. So it's all dependent on the person in it.
Got it. So what would you say is the percentage of people that you know that typically end up passing this going up ceremony?
I don't think I have the numbers. It's I think one of every 5 people. Actually, no, probably it's kind of rare. But if the trainers notice that this person is not doing well, they'll bring it up to the chain of command, and then they'll talk to this individual and see where this person is at and why he's doing the things he's doing. So they give individuals multiple chances to get in.
Got it. So what would you say, what type of person, what type of people should be going to the honor guard, and which ones really shouldn't join?
Honestly, if you are not very good in keeping your uniform the way it should be and ironing them out for inspections, keeping your brass done, like if you are not squared away in these things, because I believe those were like the toughest things. The manual of arms, weapons manuals, and sequences, they're not too tough, but I think what people mostly struggled was getting their sequences, or I'm sorry, their uniforms ready for inspections and getting them signed off. Because when you're working on these uniforms, you have to like polish your boots for something. Let's say if you don't have those signed off, you won't be able to get your brass. Let's say I don't think it's the boots one, but yeah.
Well, I mean, those are things that you'll probably, because if you have to make the decision by week 3 of boot camp, third week of boot camp, it's kind of hard to tell. Like, I don't even think you're really messing with your chops during the third week of boot camp, or like, so it's like, how do you know before even joining, someone that doesn't have maybe any military experience, but, they're interested because, of the benefits that come with the honor guard. How can you know, like, what type of character qualities are the people that are really, really good at honor guard versus the people that probably shouldn't be joining?
I actually don't really know. Typically, we do get a mix of different people in terms of like how they are, if they're squared away or not. But the honor guard training program trains you to be squared away if you weren't. So I knew I wasn't doing well when I was doing uniform maintenance in boot camp. But while you're in the training program, you learn pretty fast. And like, if you know you're not going to be committing to this, there's a good chance you probably won't make it into the honor guard or making it out of the training program. So it really depends on the individual. There's all types of people who go in, people who are lazy, some people are squared away, some people who have experience in it, but we get all types of people who end up passing the going up ceremony. So it's definitely all dependent on the person. I wouldn't say anyone who is not good in uniform maintenance in boot camp, because I wasn't. I definitely did not pass the ODU inspections while I was there because I had the belt the wrong way, or I didn't have the sleeves tight enough. So yeah, everything you'll be learning, and people will teach you in the honor guard. Like if you ask for help, they'll help you. So you just need to show commitment that you want to be in it.
Got it. As far as the type of person that would probably enjoy it, because you're not coming from like an operational unit, like a station or cutter or anything like that. One part of it, there's the working side of the Coast Guard, and if you're a non-rate, you're probably going to be, painting, sanding, or you could be on a buoy tender doing buoy operations, or at a small boat station doing LE. So there's like the operational side. Like what type of person would probably enjoy the honor guard a little bit more than maybe someone that could go operationally? Like, do you feel like the honor guard was enjoyable for you? Are there like a lot of people that join the honor guard and they're like, oh man, like it sounded cool in boot camp, because you're kind of in a haze and you're like, oh man, these guys are so clean, they look so good, but then it's like, oh well, I could have been doing an actual operational job. I really didn't want to be shining my boots for so long, or my my dress shoes or my Bravos and doing like uniform maintenance and stuff like that. So what type of person do you think is best suited for like the honor guard versus maybe someone that's, also interested in operational stuff?
Yeah, because so I know that when you're in the honor guard for 2 years, it can get pretty repetitive, doing the same things over and over again. And if you're on a cutter, let's say you're going to be going to different places, parts of the world, and it's definitely two different parts of the Coast Guard that you wouldn't expect to be a part of the service, you know. So my roommates here are from my roommate is from the Eagle. I have one who's from the Kimball. And so when we and I tell him I'm in the honor guard, we just compare our experiences. So it's completely different. I think the disadvantage of being in the honor guard is that you don't really know what you don't really have any experience of what the Coast Guard really does. So that's one of the biggest disadvantages. And I know that people who are going to, let's say, MEA school and stuff, and they only have like one ribbon, which was the one that you get, or the one medal that you get in boot camp, and then you see other people have racks of accomplishments, you know. So it's definitely tough. Like these people are kind of at a disadvantage when going into A school, because all the other experiences that your other shipmates are doing are actually like what the Coast Guard really does in terms of like operational stuff. So other than it being different, it's also unique in a way because like you get to meet these high officials from different parts of the world. You know, I got to see the president's speeches, and I was there for a lot of his events, introducing other high officials and stuff, like the president or prime minister of Australia. I forgot which one's. But yeah, I got to meet the commandant, the vice commandant, McPog. Is definitely a fun experience overall. What's also pretty rewarding about it is that you get to do these funerals too. So you render the honors for fallen shipmates. It's definitely the toughest part of the job as well, because like while you're in the job, you can't be showing any emotions and stuff. And when you see a picture of the person who passed away, it's definitely tough, and you see the families mourn. So it's not just drill team presenting the colors at the Super Bowl. Those are pretty big events, but in all honesty, like funerals were the ones that were very rewarding, to give the last honors to our shipmates and then being there for the families.
Yeah, like you said, it's a different experience. Your roommate, one from the Kimball, one from the Eagle, and the Eagle is kind of like it's a training environment for cadets, which is also a unique experience. I don't think you can. I'm not sure if you can request to go to the Eagle. You might be able to put it on your dream sheet, but it's not like the honor guard where it's like, like that. But yeah, all different aspects. But so going back, you completed the going up ceremony or the going up test. Do things kind of change at that point? Is it like those, up to 12 or 10 to 12 weeks at self-paced? Is that like super high stress? Like, are you greeting, the petty officers the same way, like you would in boot camp? Or is there some type of, if you could kind of talk about that environment?
Yeah, it's definitely different once you complete your going up and then you just go to work like everyone else, and then you see it's a little bit more lax, because like you're no longer in that high stress environment in terms of like making sure that your uniform is squared away and stuff. Like you still need to upkeep your uniform, but the honor guard has given you your rope, and you already have the trust of them that you will have this, like have your uniform ready when a mission comes up. So yeah, once you finish training, you'll be working on your quals. So the two most common quals were firing party and colors. The most difficult was casket, and then drill team was the special one where if you asked to join, you could probably join depending on how you are as a person and how you are in drill team. So I had my quals in firing party and colors, and if you got two of the four quals, you'll earn your temporary honor guard badge. So that's definitely something that everyone should strive for while you're there.
Does not everybody get the 2 calls in that 2 year time period?
There's no time period. Well, the time period is your 2
Your
years there.
contract. Right.
Yeah. So there's no specific time, but you need, I think the NCOs are the ones who are like getting it pretty strict to, or ensuring that you work on these quals so you can get your badge and then work on other collaterals like drill team or casket team if you're interested. So it's all about perfecting your craft and all these performances or sequences, and then being able to do these jobs. Because like once you get in to the honor guard, you're not going to be doing this 21 gun salute unless you're qualified. You're not going to be rendering. You're not going to be a part of the 4-man colors team when you don't even have your quality yet. So it's definitely you'll be learning these things, and most of the time you'll be working on platoon jobs. Like you'll be the platoon in a funeral if needed. You'll be in a platoon for a high profile job like in the National Mall or Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So yeah, you'll be doing a lot of those positions first. So those are like considered like the most boot, but everyone gets to do them. So yeah, once you get your quals in firing party and colors, which are the two main again, you'll earn your temporary badge, and then you'll get to be a part of those missions.
So what is the day-to-day life like for honor guard? Are you working just, is it like a Monday through Friday 8 to 4 type schedule, or is there like you have to be certain places at a certain time? Kind of walk through what is life like after that initial 10-week going up training?
Yeah, so when you're once you get into the honor guard, you'll be able to, or your schedule is 7:15 to 2:30, I believe, to 2:30 p.m. That's the honor guard schedule from Monday to Thursday, and then Fridays are typically half days, and we get released around like 11, 12-ish.
Man, you guys have an even better schedule than than we do.
Yeah, it was definitely nice. And when you're in training, you'll have instead of 2:30, you'll be getting released at I think 3:30. I don't remember, but yeah. But Fridays were typically half days, and you can just come in PT gear. We'd have it'll be a field day, and then also usually like we'll just be playing basketball or working out most of the day on Fridays. So yeah, but while you're in training, or I'm sorry, while you're in the honor guard on the Monday through Thursday weekdays, you'll be the first half of the day, depending on what platoon you're in. If you're in firing party, I think the schedule was that you do workouts for the first half, which is up until lunch at 11, and then the last half was working out or playing basketball or any PT sort of PT. And then if you're in colors, it'll be the opposite.
So half of your day is working out, and then the other half is playing basketball.
No, well, working out and basketball were under the same PT part of the day, and then the other half would be drilling, working on your qualifications.
Got it. So for what, 4 hours you're doing like on your drilling and on your quals, and then the other 4 hours is
was like working out. Yeah, it was definitely a good schedule.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and that's Monday through Thursday, and then Friday's the field day where you're cleaning the place, and then you're free the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
And you do that. So during those 4 hours, when you don't have any qualifications, you're working on you pick which qualification you want, and you join that platoon. Like, how does that work?
I think the NCOs would just be like, okay, whichever you wouldn't necessarily be like, that's not like considered your specialty. Like, let's say if you were in firing party, it just means that you're under this platoon under this NCO, and it'll just be for the chain chain of command. But everyone is working on different quals, and you just have this person to be reporting to, or this is your supervisor. So
got it. But like if you're interested in, so if you're working on your quals, do you join one of the teams, and then you're basically watching them as they're training, or is like someone personally helping you? Like, how does that work?
Everything in the honor guard, like all basically senior non-rates are the ones who are going to be helping you out. They're the ones who I think they're lead seamen for each qualifications, and under them they have people who are qualified and the ones helping out other people who need to get qualified and giving them sign-offs. So you'll be working with them, and then once you get qualified, you can just switch to a different. You can just work on the different schedule and then uh, work with their team to get qualified on that. And yeah, it would just be the same thing. So NCOs are just basically there for they'll be there watching to see if you once the trainers think you are competent in the sequence, then we'll have like a test out. NCOs will be there to see if you are qualified for it. So,
And are the NCOs also part of the different teams and like actually performing, or are they just like supervisors?
they're basically supervisors, but they don't do the same sequences as us because on certain sequences, like let's say for a firing party job and a funeral, the NCOs are just the ones calling out the command, so they won't be actually doing the sequence. They're just calling it out, but they're the ones who have the eye to see that everyone is on time in terms of on their marks when it comes to doing the sequence. Because if you do like a firing party job where it sounds like a machine gun, where all of the gunfire doesn't shoot at the same time, then no one was on time when it came to when doing the command. So yeah, the trainers will be the ones helping you out with the sequence, and the NCOs are the ones who are just like eyeing it out.
Got it. So so honor guard is kind of run as far as like being able to perform the different jobs by like the lead seaman, the person that's been there the longest, and then you train underneath them on their schedule. You said like what colors was like in the either morning or afternoon, and the firing team was the opposite. And then you train underneath them. Then the other qualified are basically just helping you get sign-offs, and then you're performing. And then is there like an expectation, like you have to get qualified by this certain date, or how long does it typically take to like, get the qualification for that specific job?
Yeah, so firing party doesn't really take too long because there's only one sequence. So that can take up to like maybe 2 weeks once you finish, and once you get all your sign-offs, you do your test out. That takes about 2 weeks to complete and get your qualifications. Colors is definitely takes about, it's pretty long because the weapons manuals for colors are different from the platoon manuals, let's say, that you learned in the honor guard training. So you also will be working with staff manuals or flag manuals. So that takes about, I'd say, 3 to 6 months, depending on the person, because there's just so much to learn in that. And there are, I believe, 3 or 4 sequences in that in color. So once you learn everything, you'll be doing a test out that shows that you can do everything pretty well. So, and then again, NCOs will be there, the ones who are going to be testing you out and making sure that you look good.
Got it. So let's say you get that first, the firing squad qualification. Now you're able to do the job. Does your schedule change? Is it like some type of rotation where it's like, if you got, when you were there was like up to 100 different people, but is there like, and you said the firing squad's only typically 4 people in a firing squad?
No, it's a 7-man squad, and the colors is a 4-man, typically 4-man team.
Got it. So when you do have those qualifications, did they put you like into a rotation, and then it's like, I'm going to be going to this event on this date, and how does that work?
So we have an operations department that does all the logistics of that. I was actually a part of that after my first year in the honor guard. So I started. We were the ones who assigned who's going to be on which job when it was like, let's say, 2 weeks out. So yeah, we would like find out who is qualified and who's capable of doing the job, and we'll go based on like who hasn't done this job yet or whichever, and then we would put them with someone who's like who's done multiple jobs of the same thing, and then that way they learn from each other and can perform the mission.
So once you have that qual, then you kind of you're working with ops. And so is the ops like a collateral duty? What you were doing?
Yeah, it was collateral duty.
Okay.
And to work in I'm sorry, to work in to be able to do collaterals, you had to have your badge. So two quals of any of the four wouldn't get you to work on any of the being the collaterals, like operations, being a GMO, and a BMO. I think BMO was one of them, and I think that was it. Oh, supply, working in supply, and yeah, I believe that is. Oh, and trainers. I forgot about that. Trainers for the people who are for honor guardsmen that are or new trainees coming in to be an honor guardsmen.
Got it. So there's dedicated honor guardsmen that would help the people that are going through that going up training phase.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay. And is there any like benefit to doing these collaterals, or is it just volunteerism, or how does that work?
Well, the thing is that once you're in the honor guard, after your first year, everything feels kind of repetitive. So like once you find out, like once you're able to do certain collaterals, it definitely adds different things while also adding more responsibilities to yourself. So it's definitely something to do while you're there after, let's say, your first year of doing just training and doing all the same missions over and over again. So yeah, it does get repetitive, but once you get into collaterals, then you'll be able to do something different that is at least more enjoyable while you're at work. So
got it. And then so you get to the both of those quals, and then you can pursue drill team. And is drill team what is that timeline typically in order to get that qualification?
Drill team takes a while for sure, because you're gonna be tossing pieces left and right to other people sometimes. So it's definitely tough. When I was doing the drill team training, it was definitely painful because your wrist was not able to do the things you did, or were not able to do the things you were supposed to do, and like it's basically just working through the pain and then being able to do it. So eventually, after months of practice, you'll be able to test out of it once you learn the complete sequence. I wasn't able to complete it because I got picked up for operations, and our schedules didn't really match when I was learning to do operations while doing drill team. So I just focused more on operations once I was in it. If you're doing drill team, I don't know exactly how long it takes, because there's some people who are really good at drilling and then others. But for me, I was maybe around like 4 months in doing drill team, and like I wasn't even qualified yet.
Wow, 4 months. And are you still drilling on, or are you still practicing on the other jobs? So like once you get the qualifications, do you have to like go to the trainings periodically to like refresh, or like how do you learn like a new job while still performing the other jobs?
Yeah, so like that was definitely a challenge, because like sometimes you perform a sequence that you were supposed to do on a different job while practicing, and you're like, oh snap, that wasn't the right sequence, because they're all kind of different, or different variations of it. At least once you get your qualifications, you do have to practice at least a couple times a week to refresh your memory on these sequences for different quals. So yeah, but once you're doing drill team and you're practicing for colors, they kind of like are they're definitely different, but they also kind of trip you up when you're trying to work on both when you're practicing both qualifications.
And then every day, are you basically doing the same? It's like they're going through the whole sequence, like just repeating it over and over, and then that's basically what every single Monday through Thursday is.
Yeah,
It's
you'll
like
be
you could.
practicing a lot with you'll be practicing a lot of the sequences and perfecting them. Drill team is definitely difficult because like everyone has to be in sync, and like if one person catches the rifle at a different time and this person catches a little bit late, it definitely looks odd. Or if you hear a slap on the rifle in two different times, it definitely doesn't look that good if you're in the honor guard. I imagine like when you're in the audience, like, oh, everything looks super cool and everything looks great, but like for us, like everything is like needs to be perfect. And if one person's timing is off with the other, we don't believe that's perfect, but the audience thinks it's good. But that's what we strive for, is just perfection on all of our sequences.
So for the drill team, I mean, you could be there and get qualified, and then by the time you're probably like fully qualified in that, because you could get the drill team after you get your two quals, and then once you get that third one, you might already be like past a year in the honor guard. You might have only like another year or less left.
Yeah, most definitely, that's true. What's cool about being in drill team is that you do perform in these cool venues, and sometimes you also perform at retirements depending on the person requesting it. I think before COVID, they used to do like a tour, like a cross country tour or something, and they would travel all different parts of the state or different parts of the U.S. just to perform. I know they did it in Fleet Week. They would do it in I think they did it in Disneyland. There's a YouTube video on it in LA or in Anaheim, sorry. But yeah.
And once you're in the drill team, is that basically the only job that you'll probably be doing at that point, is just like other drill jobs, or are you still in rotation for the other jobs as well?
Oh, you'll still be participating in all the other the jobs. It really all depends on the operations department to see what numbers we have. But typically, if you're in drill team, it's just a specialty. It's just another qual. So, and though while I was there, when I was in the operations department, we didn't really get that much drill team requests because of COVID. So I don't know how it is nowadays, but depending on what jobs we have, we just fill up a roster and then submit it to do. We'll just put it on the job board, and whoever sees it, they'll be like, okay, we're going to be on this mission this day at this time.
Yeah. And then for the casket, do you know anything about like how that qual process is or what that entails?
Yeah, so if you're a pretty strong dude, most likely you're going to be invited to do the casket team. So you don't even have to do, well, you would have to do one of the 4 quals with casket to get your badge. But casket is like, I believe it takes about a year to get fully qualified in it. And wow, just to get into casket team is pretty difficult. There's a casket test that you'll be doing, and you'll be displaying your strength without showing any facial expressions of struggle or just to get into the team. So like, I do have the notes here of what is expected of you to pass the test. So
okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it is a 225 bench, and you have to do that 10 reps. 75 pounds seated dumbbell press, 10 reps. 225 squats, or 10 reps, sorry. 275 pounds on Romanian deadlifts, 10 reps. 95 pounds wall curl, 100 pounds dumbbell farmer's carries, 115-pound barbell side carries, ceremonial bearing at all times, which basically means like no breaking face. You'll just be like keeping the same facial expression with no struggle throughout the test. And you only get 45 seconds of rest in between. So it's definitely
holy moly
challenging, man. A lot of people don't really pass it the first time, but as long as you work out with the casket team, like they'll get you prepped for it.
That is wild. Wow. Yeah, that I never realized like how strong those guys are, but man, to not show any struggle, and then you have to do all of those in sequence with only a 45-second break in between. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, from what they say, like your forearms are blown after it, and like you're just. I've watched people do it. I've watched people pass and fail. It's not easy.
Oh my goodness. Man, I'm gonna have to ask someone to make a YouTube video just showing. Try, you see those videos online of like US someone tries to perform a Navy SEAL challenge, like it's like someone tries to perform the casket challenge. Oh my
I
goodness.
mean, like I don't know what the other services are like just to get into their casket, just to get into the casket team, but I imagine it being as equally as tough. So yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to make the casket team anytime soon, but
I thought about it, but then I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm years behind that, so I don't think I'll be able to make the cut.
wow. Wow. And to think that if there's even that many people in the Coast Guard that could even meet that criteria, like I haven't met that many big people in the Coast Guard, so it's like for them to have that many people. So kind of going off of that too, is it 2 years, 2 years, and then let's say you decide like, hey, I don't think I want to stay in the Coast Guard or anything like that, and you still have a 4-year contract. Are there people that are there past the 2-year mark?
We definitely had one person that I know of that ended up doing his whole 4 years there, but with the new CEO, I don't think he would ever allow that again because he wasn't in charge when he did that. But I think there were some people who there were definitely a lot of people who stayed there longer than 2 years because like they ended up not putting they got complacent and just not put their names on the list. Like they got too comfortable in the honor guard and were like I can put my name on the list. I'll jump the gun anytime. But like once their 2 years is up, and then like oh I don't have enough points and to put my name on this list. In terms of ASVAB score, they want to do this. They want to do this rate, but they can't. They don't have the score for it. So now they go take the test, and then just adds more time to being in the honor guard. As much as like some people enjoy doing it, like some people, it's also time to like move on and start working on your career.
Got it.
So there's definitely people who had that issue and ended up staying there longer than they should have, which was the 2-year mark. So yeah.
Got it. Yeah, and that's why we always talk about is like if you're interested in a specific job in the Coast Guard's really it might be all the services. I'm not sure, but I know in the Coast Guard, as of what I know now, it could be different. It could have changed, but it's like a 6-month time period between when you can take your ASVAB to like retest, which is kind of crazy because like if before you join the military, you can take the ASVAB like multiple times to try to get a better score. But like when you get in, then it seems like you're only allowed to take it up to 6 months. So it's really important before you get in, get your ASVAB as high as you possibly can. Just like overstudy, try to get as many jobs as you can because you don't want to, end up joining and then, you decide to maybe change your rate and then, now you can't pursue that job because you didn't meet those requirements. So, super important. I'll include a link below this video for some other videos that I talk about, like how, to increase your ASVAB score, some of the resources that I used. But that is important. All right. And, yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a better understanding of like how the honor guard works. Maybe just if you could, what are some, any experiences or any things, bad experiences, good experiences that you feel like you want to share?
Yeah, I'll share the toughest part of being in the honor guard too, which is like the stands. We had a mission one time. I forgot the names, but in the military base, and we had, or sorry, it was an army base, and I believe it was like the changing of, I forgot, it was one of the staff members in this army base, or for the whole army service, and we had to stand. We stood there in the gymnasium in a formation, and we were there. We were expecting the job to be only like 90 minutes long, which is granted a really long time anyways, but we ended up standing for like 2.5 hours. It's definitely tough because like when you're standing there, you can't move, you're probably standing in the same position for more than like 30 minutes. The only time they exercise you, which basically means it's like they pop you at ceremonial at ease, and then they pop you to attention and then back at ease. So you're back in, that's like pretty much your only exercise of movement. There's ways around it, which to ensure that you have blood circulation, which is like don't lock your knees, make sure you breathe, and also prior to the mission, like eating and like drinking lots of water. But yeah, like when you're standing there, like your combo cover is like been sitting on the same position. You can't like move it, and it's pretty like it's pretty painful when it's just staying at the same spot for like for more than an hour. You just feel a burning pain right here. Like your fingers start tingling up. You feel like you're losing sensation on your legs, and you're like, am I gonna fall out? Like, am I gonna hit the deck? There was a person that I saw like while in formation on that same job, where I believe it was their staff, their NCO. I don't know exactly what happened, but you just hear a hard thud, like that, and then like you see like everyone just scrambling around them, which is like, again, like while you're in formation, you can't move, and you just like it just happens. I've seen some of my shipmates like fallen like face forward. The Army is the ones who typically are in charge of these events. They overlook at the platoon to see if anyone looks like they're gonna fall out, and they have like a radio talking to someone who's off to the side and be like, "Hey, this person on this spot looks like he's having trouble. Like, can you go grab him before he falls?" And then we'll also have like on our missions, we'll always have like extra bodies just in case um, like someone falls out. We have a replacement. So yeah, it gets to that point sometimes when you're standing for long periods of time, and then like when you're dealing with weather, because most of the missions are done in the summer, and when you're dealing with humidity, sometimes when you're outside in the Pentagon lawn, it's tough. It's a mental challenge. When you're in training, like they're not going to make you stand like for an hour. Like you will build up to it. So the first for the first stand is like 30 minutes, and then you build up to 45, and then you have an hour stand, and then after the hour stand, I think you just do the 90-minute stand, which is your last stand. And then once you get that done, you should be prepared and learn what to be able to expect what's going to happen on these missions. So if you fall out on the jobs, unfortunately you would have to restart these stands in training. So
Do you have any regret like joining Honor Guard? Like, do you wish that you know had done something else, or had a different type of experience?
no, I mean, like, it's definitely a thought that has come to my mind when like talking. Well, now I'm in A school and talking to everyone here who had the Cutter Life experience or had an operational unit, and like when I talk about the Honor Guard, they were like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." So it's definitely unique, and everyone has their own experiences on their unit. So I have no regrets in joining the Honor Guard. It's definitely a rewarding experience because, like, you again, you get to see these people. Sometimes you get to talk to them too, like the commandant, McPog, and vice commandant. Like for me, I got to experience working in the inauguration. I didn't get to do the inauguration, but I did the logistics parts of it because I was in the ops department. So that was a logistical nightmare for sure because we didn't have the same numbers compared to other services when it comes to honor guard members, and at the same time we were dealing with COVID. So when we had members who were hit with COVID, like we need to like move parts for certain missions for the inauguration. So definitely tough. But when we were sleeping in the office and preparing for the morning of the inauguration, like I was watching the news and I see all my shipmates there, like in the news, to be like, "Oh, that's my buddy. Like they're getting a lot of screen time right now," and it's awesome. I can't like explain that experience, but like if I was one of them, and then you just see like these senators, these representatives of, then you see the president just walking by you, that in while you're just standing still. That's just like an amazing and like surreal experience. So, and then I know a couple people who who were able to participate in the Super Bowl this year, so, and last year. So I can't imagine being a part of that. Being part of that, like these are just like once in a lifetime opportunities. So it's definitely the honor guard definitely has its pros and cons if you compare it to different units, but it's definitely a rewarding and fun place.
Being in the Coast Guard Honor Guard, do you experience a lot more? Because like with the other services, like they're so much bigger. I'm sure that they have like multiple Honor Guard, teams that perform, lots and lots of missions. Is the Coast Guard any different, or do they perform more because, they try to include us in on it, or how does that kind of work?
I never really got to ask the other service members about their experience about being in the honor guard. I know just watching off YouTube videos of like their drill team, they can perform in they get invited to perform in like, let's say NFL games, like their drill team sequences. We do perform in like we present the color. I presented the colors in Baltimore Ravens NFL game one time, so that was a cool experience. You definitely do work with other service members, honor guardsmen though. So yeah.
Okay.
And then I think one of the coolest jobs about it is like you get to go on away missions, and unfortunately these are for like people who passed away on like active duty and stuff. But like it's definitely rewarding because you're there rendering the last honors for a fallen shipmate who passed on the line of duty. So being there for the families and stuff is definitely tough on you because like again, if you see a picture of them, and then sometimes like there's this one mission that I went in Arizona. There was a person who looked pretty young, around my age, and that was tough. But like being able to render honors for this person in front of their families, like at least we can give them just a proper respect for them,
Yeah, and do you have any other insight as far as like the NCOs and maybe for people that petty officers that are interested in going the honor guard NCO route? Do you know kind of like what their other, outside of just being like a supervisor, are there like any other things that they do, or any other that you could shed some light on that for someone that's maybe interested in pursuing that?
So for NCOs, you pretty much go through the same process as what a trainee would go through when they come into the honor guard, but you also are there to perform a certain like responsibility. Like let's say my supervisor who was the ops NCO, and so he was going through the training process while also learning the operations side of it at the same time. So yeah, typically you'll have, I think the NCOs you have one for the ops, and then also like for firing party, drill team, and basically all for those quals. And like I think the process was that you also learn the sequence, and then you learn the NCO sequence. So you get a better understanding of how to do it. And you're basically like a coach, and they'll be the ones that like giving you insights on how to improve on your sequence.
Got it. And they're not like talking down. It's not like a company commanders or anything like that.
No, not at all.
Got it. Okay. Is their schedule, like, do they follow that same schedule Monday through Thursday, with the rotating?
I like to think so. Like they do, like probably will get a release a little bit later or something, just because like they have to stick around for extra like work in terms of like paperwork or whatever. But overall, we pretty much all have the same schedule.
Mm. Do you ever see them go a little bit crazy with repetitiveness, or are they usually pretty well situated? Because doing you said doing 2 years, it can start to get really repetitive. Doing it for 4 years, I mean, does anybody get a little bit like stir crazy at that point, or are all the
not for the NCOs, not that I notice, but for the non-rates, yeah, definitely. Some people do. Some people do get tired of doing the same thing over and over again, and does play a factor into complacency, and then they just get lazy and not do the things they need to be doing. NCOs are pretty much there to also enforce that they are like, hey, you need to get these, you need to get these done, and like make sure that you guys are looking good for the performance, because they're the NCOs who are going to be like making these calls. And if they think that it's not good, then who's to blame, right? Like if you this person isn't like practicing enough and doesn't look that great compared to everyone else, then the NCOs will have to talk to you about that.
And how many NCOs are there?
I think when I went through, I think there was like around 4 or 5 NCOs. I've already been gone for about 3-4 months out of the honor guard, and I know while I was there, like they were changing a lot of different things. Like new officers were coming in and new NCOs were coming in. So I'm not really too sure about the numbers now, but I know for a fact that like the honor guard's numbers in terms of non-rates are shrinking because the Coast Guard needs more non-rates in different units.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure. COVID, through a whole year for the honor guard, kind of out. Probably changed a lot of things, but probably don't need to go into that. That's going to be, kind of irrelevant. But awesome. Well, is there anything else that you feel that we didn't cover that people should know?
No, I think that's pretty much everything. If you are interested in joining the honor guard, like I can put like a link to my Instagram or something on the notes of this video, and
Okay.
then like anyone can DM me, and I'll give them further information if they're interested. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be real nice. And where do you kind of see the future of your career? So, just so you know, you're going to be, you're going to be a little famous in the Coast Guard, as far as like, anybody that's in the honor guard is probably going to be watching this video, I imagine. If you want to tell a little bit about, where you plan on going, if people can keep a heads up on you.
Yeah, so I'm going to be being an IT in the Coast Guard. So we're like at the 3rd month of ITA school. We should be hearing about our picks soon, but we haven't gotten them yet. But I'm trying to go somewhere. I'm trying to go to the cyber route. So that's the move for me.
Got it. So you'll be right back at base.
Yeah, that's funny too. Yeah, because the cyber or the EOC and C5I is pretty much where the honor guards are at. So I'll probably meet up with some of my shipmates there again.
Yeah, it's funny. It's all going for lunch, and then it's just like people are staring, at me a little bit longer than I'd like, and they're like, "Wow, I watch your videos."
Yeah, that's true too.
It's like, okay, but no, that's real cool. No, I appreciate you sharing. I'll include a link down below for if anybody wants to reach out. And thank you so much for sharing this. I have a better understanding and appreciation for the honor guard. I think this will be a big help for people that are also interested. So thank you so much, Ralph, for taking the time. And until next time, military journeyman, I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, guys.